Hi, Thorne Nature Experience families, both the Nature Learning Pods and Thorne Nature Preschool. We are sending out this video because we want to go over some new information regarding our COVID policies. I'm Maddie. I am the director of Thorne Nature Preschool, and I teach at the Lafayette location on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hi, everyone. I'm Regina. I'm the Inclusiveness and Equity Manager here at Thorne. So I work closely with a lot of the NKJN families as a sort of liaison with the community liaison, Vero. So yeah, I've been working closely with a lot of you, and I'm here taking part in this video because I will translate everything that is said into Spanish and make a video for the Spanish speakers after this is done.
And my name is Paul Humes. I'm the school programs manager. I've been coordinating the nature learning pods and been watching a lot of the health guidelines, and we're excited to have the kids back.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for the introductions. I want to start out and just let everybody know of the families that this is a difficult time. We have had such a fantastic start to the year, with hurdles and families and students and staff being flexible. And as cases rise of COVID in Boulder County and the US, we are rethinking our internal Thorne policies that affect both staff and families. Again, though, I do want to say thank you so much already for everybody's very, very open communication and just the flexibility and understanding of why we're doing what we're doing and why we are being so strict. So I want to start out with the fact that all of these policies apply to both Thorne staff, volunteers, everybody, as well as families. Boulder County has moved into the safer at home level 3. And so that does change things in terms of capacity for restaurants and gyms. For schools, it changes a little bit in regards to returning to learn for students, encouraging more masks as for the preschool age children, encouraging more mask use, and making sure that both staff and families are following the protocols out by the county related to gatherings of no more than 10 people and no more than 2 households. So with that, we have updated our COVID policies for all Thorne programs. And the basis of this update is that we want to ensure that we are keeping our students and families as safe as we can and as healthy as we can, and so that we are able to stay open and not have to quarantine, whether that's a class or a pod. We want to make sure that we can serve the families as much as we can in the best way. So there are 2 main new reference points for our COVID policies. So first, we have guidance from the Boulder County, from the health department, talking about any unnecessary travel for the holidays. We understand that everybody wants to see their families, and knowing that to keep the school open, to keep our students safe, there might be certain sacrifices. Boulder County, the CDC and CDPHE, their current guidance is that people avoid any unnecessary travel, and that for those attending or hosting gatherings, the revised public health order for Colorado has it for reducing the size of personal gatherings to no more than 10 people from no more than 2 separate households. We are asking our employees and our families to comply with this guidance over the holiday seasons to best protect our students and staff. This information will be sent out to you in an email, and it is also going to be reiterated on a new contract that we have that all families must sign. This is something that we will print out. We will be checking in on Monday and Tuesday whenever your child comes back to school next week. And this contract is more strict. And again, the reasons that we have it more strict is so that we can best serve you all, our families, and keep the kids in the classrooms and outside with their friends, learning and growing. There are a few new additions to the contract, which include the agreement that if a child has a symptom from the symptoms list that we will share, that the child will get a PCR test within 24 hours of symptom onset. That is more restrictive than the current CDPHE guidelines. And again, we are doing that so that we don't have to put a class into quarantine. Per the current CDPHE guidelines, there are a variety of ways and timings that have a class go into quarantine. It looks at when symptoms started, when the child was last in school, how long the symptoms last. But what we could run into or have already run into is that if a child has symptoms and they don't get a test, there is a possibility that the class could be quarantined for a week or the 2 weeks, where the sooner we get the test, the sooner we don't have to quarantine that class. There is, again, timing per there is timing per the health department that the first 4 days, you don't have to quarantine a class, but then 4 through 14, you do have to, again, depending on symptoms. There's a lot of different scenarios, but by having students, staff, and family members who have symptoms get a test within 24 hours, that makes it much more of a possibility that we won't have to quarantine the class, because most test results do come back in 2 to 3 days. I do want to acknowledge that this is a lot of information. Again, things have been changing this semester. I am on twice a month calls with the health department, and I have an email and called our health department person many times, and they are very, very readily available to go over many scenarios. But again, for Thorne, for all of Thorne's programs, we are requiring that if a student, staff, or a household member has symptoms, they must get a PCR test within 24 hours. We are also asking families that if they do choose to gather with more than 10 people or with more than 2 household groups, that they keep their child home from school for 5 days. We are also asking families, and all of this relates to families and staff. We are also asking families and staff that if they choose to travel by air, that they will keep their child home from school for the following 5 days after the flight. We are also wanting to trust and support our families and acknowledging that underreporting of symptoms to teachers or directors will result in permanent removal from the program at the discretion of Thorne's program director. We understand that this is very strict. And again, I want to reiterate that the main point of Thorne making these restrictions is so that the kids can continue to stay in school and continue to learn. The other main part of this as well is that if quarantines happen or closures happen, and if we don't have enough of the teaching staff to be able to safely teach and be with the children, there is potential that depending on the day, the class might be canceled. We are planning to do our best to use our sublist, make sure obviously that we are still in state ratio, but that is something that a lot of Boulder County elementary schools, early childhood centers, preschools, and the like have been experiencing closures that are less due to in-class cases and more due to staff having to quarantine or just a general shortage of staff. We will be emailing all of this out. You should be getting an email about it, but on Monday and Tuesday, again, each child's teacher will be chatting with you and we will have the contract for you to sign. The list of symptoms from CDPHE does include a runny nose. We understand, as does the health department, that children, young children often have runny noses, but it is a symptom of COVID or COVID exposure. We need to make sure that children do not come to school with runny noses, and that if they have a runny nose that is out of the ordinary, that it's not due to allergies or because they're out in the cold, that it is considered a symptom and that they must get a test within 24 hours. If your child does have any of the symptoms on the list, please make sure that you tell their teacher and that you emailed the director of their program, whether that is Paul for the nature learning pods or myself for the preschool. Again, I want to say thank you so much to families for all of the flexibility and communication that we have had so far this year. It has been a wild start to the school year, but I do want to say that on the ground, I know all of the kids, the pods, preschool, everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful time, and we want to continue that by following the protocol set out by the state, by following the protocols set out for Thorne programs. We will be able to continue teaching and growing and having fun with our students. Thank you.